Hey, everybody, it's me. There's nobody here other than me and Colleen. So I'm going to teach this anyway. Wake up. Anyway, one person. There we go. Say hi. Hi. I tell you, what are you all like celebrating the election? The Democrat won by 1 point. Interesting, huh? Was like, you know, it's amazing that actually a Democrat hasn't been re-elected in New Jersey since. Yeah, but you know, there's weird exceptions to that rule. Might as well put this on tape. First of all, Jim McGreevey was the governor in 2001, and it was probably short before the time, but he famously made the announcement that he was gay. And he also had like scandal-ridden administration, and he resigned. Right, so that he probably would have been a two-term governor. Yeah. The governor, then they had an acting governor, and then they had Corzine was governor from I guess what 06 to 10, and I gotta tell you, he was pretty lame. And then Christie was very dynamic. You know, he was the U.S. attorney. Hello, look, we got two people. Yay! Say hi. Well, at least this overlap video will be the most entertaining one. So anyway, Corzine came in, he had all this money and the whole thing. So that was probably the one opportunity. And then there was a governor, a Democratic governor in New Jersey from, what was it, 1990 to 94, Jim Florio, and he was elected by a resounding majority in '89, but then he was very unpopular because he passed this huge tax increase. So they got rid of him. But then the Republican governor after him was actually popular, and she almost lost the second term. Because I think people are usually pissed off after a presidential election. So anyway. Two, yeah. He won the second term by 22 points. It was right after Sandy, and he was very popular. But what brought him down was Bridgegate and running for president. Yeah. I think that's what, you know, that actually probably the running for president, he probably would have actually saved himself. But running for president, I think really was actually, that was it. And he had like the lowest or the second lowest in history in terms of polling, in terms of approval rating. So giving everybody here a political lesson, even though we have an assignment. All right. Well, how you guys doing, right?
I only wanted to tell you that she's sick.
Okay, I appreciate you telling me that. Everybody else, but anyway, we only have 7 people in this class anyway. So, all right. Well, anyway, all right. So this, what I'll just talk to you about then is basically this assignment. Okay. You've been following on the modules. Yeah, that's fine. But anyway, there is actually a public relations portion of this class, and why do we teach about public relations? I actually kind of merge it with business. Why do I talk about that? Because in the digital media world, there's probably public relations has probably become like the chief vehicle for providing news. Why is that? Because it's faster. You know, people, you know, and in today's world, I mean, pretty much there's a spokesperson for everybody, right? I mean, you guys like follow this gubernatorial election. There's a else in the topic, all right? Yeah. Something else, huh? 1 point. You know, what's really interesting about that, that isn't as, I mean, I know Biden's approval is down, the whole thing, so there's definitely factors, you know, but like I was telling Colleen, I mean, it's actually not completely unusual for this to happen in New Jersey. So, actually for a little while, I actually thought the other guy might win. So, yeah, you know, and I didn't want to tangent about that, but man, I just thought that like, every time I turn on the TV, that guy Chitterelli, he was there.
Yeah.
Like a TV screen and
Yeah.
on the screen, like taxes
Oh, yeah, oh, man. The out of context quote. They nailed the guy in Virginia for that too, because he made the remark, something like that, like, I don't think parents should be telling teachers they do an education, and then, he, use that. But yeah, like, my kids were telling me, like, oops, that, he apparently carpet bombed YouTube.
Yeah.
This guy. Yeah, I know. And I didn't see anything from like Murphy or anything, it was just like, wait, hold on, what's going on here? Try this again. Anyway. Is it on or is it off? Okay, hold on. Well, anyway, but I mean, it's interesting, like who we've been hearing from over the last couple of days. Have we heard much from the camp? We finally heard from Murphy last night, but like, yes. Oh, it's done. Yeah. Yes. Yes, he was. And I mean, funny thing is that, actually, like, there was a Jersey election in '81 that was actually went into lawsuits and all this stuff, but that one was like literally like, it actually like went, every time they kept recounting, it kept going back and forth, back and forth. This one is actually, at one point, victory is technically not a is actually like not a substantial victory, but technically it is. Because now he's like 30. What's going on with this display? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Exactly. And I did think that actually, I couldn't believe when I found out that like last year they actually mailed obviously last year we were thicker in the pandemic, but the Democrats actually last year actually mailed the mail-in ballots to people. But this year, for whatever reason, I don't know, I thought Murphy got a bit overconfident. They didn't do that. He actually had to request it and apply for it. So I think that might have, it benefited, but I think it might have hurt him, Yeah, right. And my son, he's actually registered to vote in Virginia, believe it or not, because that's actually where he was going to college. So, he would have liked to have done that too, but he didn't even think about it. And by the time we looked it up, he was like, it was like too late to get one. So. Oh, really? Oh, geez, yeah, then you have that whole situation, right? What is going on with this? I'm sorry. I'm having technical difficulties. All right, let me try again. Ugh. Okay, now I think it turned off. Now maybe it turned on. I have no idea. Well, anyway, anyway, so, given the fast-paced environment of digital media, it's, public relations becomes more important as far as like providing the information, and basically the reporter basically processes the information to something that doesn't sound like a press release. And what I was going to say was the people who've been doing the talking for the governor and for his opponent have been the spokespeople, and as you mentioned, Colleen, the person who has actually been saying, we got to count all the votes is the spokesman for Chitterelli. I don't think we have actually, the Chitterelli did come out at one point and talk, but I might actually have to get help here. I'm not sure what's going on here. Anyway, so what this assignment essentially is, if I can ever get it on the board here, it was here a second ago. basically is going to be an exercise in, you know, getting that information and putting it out there as quickly as possible from a public service person, a public relations person, right? So basically, what I like to say is that actually when I teach these classes, whether it's writing for media or digital media, what I do is first half of the semester, I kind of focus on essentially the more of the writing and the process of things, and then the, you know, and actually putting things together, you know, like how to do the video and how to do the writing. The second half of the semester, I kind of focus more on basically improving the content, you know, and how to report it, okay? Whether it's video or, we're not into the I'm gonna use, I know I talked about doing graphics, but I'm actually put together graphics, but we're going to, that's gonna be something we're gonna be doing for the last assignment. So anyway, so what, just give me a second. I keep turning it on and off. It was on before and then it went off, you know. Let me pause this. Let's see. Anyway, so what we have essentially is a, this is actually kind of weird, and I apologize it worked out this way. But we have this kind of a little bit of a weird situation because you might remember about a month ago, I had a guest speaker come into the other section. And so what I did was, we never get there. I actually have put up an assignment entry, and what I want you guys to do actually is to rewrite a press release that he has on something that happened in a company called Megalomania. This is made up by the way. Okay? This is actually a play acting exercise. Okay, yes, I know. And so anyway, what I want you guys to do is take this press release that's actually in the assignment entry, make it, you don't mind, I don't know if you got the computer or whatever, but you don't mind if you calling it up, because I had it up here. Anyway, so
I think I'm just gonna have to restart it. Is that
yeah, okay. All right. So anyway, you don't mind doing that. So anyway, it's easier for me to actually talk off the thing. Anyway, so basically what you'll see is you'll see an assignment entry, and basically it'll be for a press release about, you know, a company that went through a shakeup, okay? And but what I want you guys to do essentially is, and I give like strong hints away, is to basically, the thing is that with press release writing is that press releases basically are written for people in the media. That's their audience. So whatever you're doing in any kind of reporting, you have to think about like what your audience is. So the, you know, public relations, media relations is considered a form of media, okay? But they're actually writing for people in the media. That's their primary audience, right? But it's the media's job to actually take whatever information that they get. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Take whatever information they can get, and let's see if I know how to call this up. Of course, I'm gonna have to do the whole duo thing here, and convert that. Oh no, what is this? Are you serious? Take that information and convert it to something that'll basically be readable for the general public, okay? All right, there we go. Okay. All right, just give me a second to call this up. Ugh. Oh, come on. Jesus. Okay. I have no idea what's going on here. Am I missing something? I don't want to like get in the situation where it's like, where it like it like logs me out forever or something like that. No. This is the weirdest thing. I have never seen this before. All right, here we go. This is probably it. Okay. All right, here we go. Yeah. I know. Duo. All right. Yay, finally. Okay, so let me go into student view here. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you're actually following along in the modules, basically I have a little section here right around this time where I say, you know, PR, I say this week we'll be introduced to the form and style characteristics rely on public relations as a source and as a tool. I say chapter, it's not really a chapter, but basically, you know, press upon students the versatility that a public relations practitioner must possess and how the media can work effectively with them, okay? And normally I would have Bill Borden as a guest speaker in this class, but I can only get him for the first section, unfortunately, so I'm sorry about that. But I did actually provide a video, and I've told the video, people have said they've seen it and they said they understood it, so, but anyway, it's actually under assignments. And what he does essentially is he talks about, it's actually upcoming assignments for section 2, okay? He talks about like what he has to essentially do as the chief spokesperson for one of the big 4 accounting firms called KPMG, okay? One of the things he says actually interesting is that you know, it's hard to believe this sometimes, but he says one of the most important things for a public relations person to do, a spokesperson to do, is not lie. And I guess they probably provide like certain shades of the truth sometimes, or shades of falsehoods, yes. But I guess at the core, I guess if they did actually come out and say like an exact lie, you would lose all credibility. I don't know if any of you guys follow football, but there's this whole yeah, there you go. Of course, there's this controversy going on with the Green Bay Packers quarterback because he said that Aaron Rodgers, because he said that he was immunized in August, and apparently he's not. You know, so right now, I mean, they're looking at a guy who's always been kind of considered a good guy, and now his reputation is he's a jerk. You know, so you know, there's one thing about being vague and evasive and that sort of thing, and that's not good either. But actually, just telling an outright lie, you know, I mean, it basically could like, again, tarnish if a company's going through an already tough period, to lie about it just adds layers of problems, to have outright lie. Okay, so there's a lot of trust and credibility problems with him. I mean, it could affect whatever endorsements he has, because he has a bunch of them and stuff like that. So it's really just important to be as clear and exact as possible. Okay, what this press release does is it actually it's actually an evasive press release, but it does actually have a core truth to it. Okay, Bill probably would actually tell you that it's actually too evasive. All right. Now again, this whole thing is actually made up. Okay, so it's but there, what part of this exercise also is that, okay, but you can argue it's evasive, but the idea though is that the public relations people, their job also is to, again, write to the media. So their job is going to be to not necessarily emphasize the things that might be important to the general public, but are important to that. Okay. So what they're going to do is they're going to lead off with obviously the stuff that like they think is good news. Okay. They're going to try to protect the company's reputation. Okay. So this is a company that went through a shakeup. Okay. And I mean, what I try to tell people is that, you know, anytime a company goes through a shakeup, it's actually news and everything. But if something happens that causes that shakeup that actually like is, you know, maybe of interest to people, like a greater number of people, then that's the biggest news. Okay. And what you're going to find is that actually, when you read this press release, you're going to find that actually there was something that happened. I don't really want to give it away too directly, okay? But it's really not at the top of the press release, okay? It's down at the bottom, okay? All right. It's down toward the bottom, all right? So that's all part of the reporting end of things. I want you guys to actually work on actually like trying to find what you think is the more important news here for the general public, okay? Are you with me so far? Does that make sense so far? Let me know if you have any questions, don't, because you know, there's only two of you, so. So we've got time. Anyway. All right, what I had up before was actually, so, you know, once you actually like get that press release, your job is to, you know, typically the, you know, again, it's the reason why I bring up this merger, this kind of like connection between public relations and business, because business journalism actually is there, again, they're the ones that you typically rely on public relations people for their news, because everything moves so fast. Think about it, because the stock market, it goes up and down so wildly sometimes, you know. Let's see here. But I also bring that up because it was really the business journalists who were actually really the first digital journalists. They were the ones that actually were the ones that not only were like really first on the web when it came alive in the mid-90s, but actually used it effectively. Okay. It's interesting. Actually, I guess there's been some big news since I actually last called this up. Since July 4th shot, what's it say, January 4th shots or tests deadline for US workers. Oh boy. 2 days after the big elections. There you go. So anyway, the business, like I said, the business people were the two top business news outlets were the ones that actually were like the first to really not only get on the web, but effectively use it, because they had to, okay? Just for the reasons I just mentioned, you know? When you have like a business, such a volatile business market, you know, where there's acquisitions and mergers and things that are changing all the time, you have to be like you have to be on top of things all the time. Or like in this press release, you have situations where somebody quits, big hint, and they might even quit for bad reasons, big hint, but it causes like a shakeup, okay? So you have to be like, and then, you know, you have these outlets that are competing against each other, not day by day, not at morning by morning, but competing second by second, okay? All right. Here's Reuters. Reuters hasn't caught up to the vaccine news yet. That's a big deal, okay? Because when you have like something that actually could, this type of thing could affect the economy, right? I'm not saying necessarily in a bad way like that, but I mean, think about it. Obviously, why does that could affect the economy? What have we seen in terms of like vaccine mandates and jobs? Yeah, people like quit, get fired. Yeah. What area of like of the economy? Well, if you call it the area of the economy, I guess it is. Yeah, because it's the job economy. Where have you seen that? Like, there's been some big news in New York about that. I think something was a bit overblown, but what are we seeing like issues with that, vaccine mandates especially, you know, and then jobs, who's been like putting up a big fuss about it, probably more than anybody. You see, there was like the other day, there was like a long line of people in New York City Hall. The police. Yeah, it's funny, the media was like totally like, did a swing and miss on that one. They made it look like there was like hundreds of police officers like wedding or something. It was only 34. So anyway, so yeah, so this, but there have been issues, I think like the Chicago Police Department was something like 64% vaccinated or something like that. So there have been issues with the job economy. Not necessarily bad, but I mean, just saying that there's been issues with the job economy. So this is actually news that's important. But they're the ones that come out with it first, and Reuters is still kind of stuck on something about pills. People are going to be like, Bloomberg, like they've got, the breaking news alert on my phone. They got the thing. Maybe I'll just stick with that. That's the main thing about. It goes to the reputation and the credibility of the news company, because obviously you want to be a news company that actually is obviously is accurate, but you want to be fast. So, and that's why it's important to basically make sure that when you're dealing with things like announcements on Twitter or press releases and stuff like that, that you effectively turn that around as quickly as possible. You find the biggest news and you get it out. Okay, and that's essentially what this assignment is. That this is almost like your big vaccine news, only it involves a company and a shakeup. You got to turn it around and do it and get it out as effectively and as clearly as possible. Okay. That makes sense so far? Okay. All right. So yeah, sure.
The last assignment, we're not really writing it, putting it into, are we the press release people or is that
You say
the
again?
original piece of press release?
What?
Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, you're gonna. It's not a re. Is that what you mean? It's not a re. Well, it's a re. You're rewriting a press release.
Okay. Oh.
It's not a rewrite assignment.
Oh.
I know. I was actually careful. I usually phrase this saying rewrite press release, but actually, and then people said like, we're doing a rewrite already? No. I mean, you'll have an opportunity to rewrite this, as an assignment. Because right now you're going to rewrite a press release. Okay. And this is the one, it's actually in your, like I said, it's in the assignment entry, okay? Actually, let me get back to where that is. Yeah, it's up there, okay. All right, so like I said before, I mean, this is more of like, we're gonna deal more with like working on how to report things now, and in a quickly and timely fashion, how to do it. And like I said, this is probably the number one way to do it is to get information from a source, in this case, public relations, okay? So this assignment will require you to do more than just repeat what's told to you, okay? The easiest thing to do is to take a press release and just write it the same way it's written, right? But you don't want to do that because your audience is probably interested in bigger and things, okay? Your audience is probably interested in things that not just affect the business market, but affect everything, okay? You're and giving a big hint away. Your audience is going to be, more interested in things like your larger audience going to be, while the business audience is going to be interested in things like, wow, a company's changing its structure. That's interesting. And they're going to be interested in how that might impact their investment, stuff like that. The general public is going to be more interested in things like sex. They're going to be more interested in things like reputation. Okay. If a company does things where the top person is doing bad things, right? They're going to be more interested in that, right? So you have to almost like take an expanded view of what's in the press release. Okay. You have to take an expanded view of what the general public is more interested in. Okay. So that's what you got to find in this press release. What is the expanded public, not just the business and investment public, the expanded public, what do they care about? Okay. And that's what you have to find in the press release. All right. This will like to get people to think on their feet and think outside the box, okay? Big thing to notice about this assignment, we're playing a game of pretend, okay? I mean, I do that for a reason because, why not go outside the box sometimes and not just repeat, but maybe like add a little creativity to what we do, a lot of spice, At the same time, I mean, it's like, I've had people actually like try to Google. When I've done this before, I actually haven't done this particular press release. This is new to my class. I've done a different press release. This is actually something I've done every year. In different classes I've had, the same assignment pretty much, but this is the first time I'm using this one particular assignment, this one particular press release. But anyway, sorry, I lost my train of thought a little bit. Anyway, I've had people actually try to Google these names and stuff like that, and they've said, I didn't find it, or this name applies to somebody else, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you can't Google this, so you can't cheat. So let me be as honest as possible, okay? So, I feel like, I know I gave you a press release for the last assignment, but I feel like, this way, like, there's no way you can kind of like really look at how the story was actually done. You actually have to, like, made by other outlets, you actually have to really do it yourself, okay? Am I making sense here? We all on board here? Okay. All right, so, and we're also doing a video, and I'll get into that. That's supposed to be the fun part, okay? I know I'm sounding a little sarcastic there, but it's true. Okay, so here are the instructions for the written portion, okay? So there's this man out there, his name is Bill Borden. He's in this video right here. I'm really gonna ask you guys to actually watch this video, okay? Because he talks more in depth about business reporting and how public relations connects to it, okay? If you have any kind of issue with that, let me know. I'll help. If you have I've been told that everybody's been able to hear everything, and so, all right. Now he actually gave us, like I said, a month ago. He talks about this press release. He talks about, things that, there's really should kind of go into it. But what I'm going to ask you to do is see, this is actually a think on your feet assignment, like I said. So it's not just going to be a matter of like you just, like I said, rewriting a press release. It's not just going to be a matter of you figuring out what's important. But I'm going to ask you guys to pick out what's important and do what a reporter would do, and that is actually like contact a source to get more information. You got me so far? Okay. And actually, that guy is going to be my lifelong buddy, Bill Borden. Okay. All right. What's interesting is that Bill's actually getting laid off from KPMG. I just found this out since this video was done. Terrible news, huh? They're downsizing there. So I said to him, "Do you mind doing this, Bill?" And he said, "I've got plenty of time." It's that awful. God. I know. So actually, when you watch this video, he's going to be like, "Yeah, KPMG, blah, blah, blah." And then by the time you're done with the assignment, he's not going to be working anymore. So I think his last day is actually Monday. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah. So he's got, don't feel like, that you're putting him out or anything like that. Okay. So, anyway, what you do is going to contact him. And you're going to have lingering questions. You're going to pick out from that press release what you think is the most important thing. Okay. But you're going to need that information to find out what happened involving that most important thing. Okay. So that's why you got to contact Bill Borden. Okay. And on the press release, there's actually an email address for him, but also it says here, please contact him. I'm asking you guys to also like contact him. This assignment's going to be due 2 weeks from today. Let me make sure I got Thursday, November 18th. Okay. I put Friday, November 11th. It's actually Friday. It's actually November 12th. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's make sure of that actually. Anyway, the reason why that we're giving you a deadline on that is just to kind of like make sure people do it. Okay. I don't want people like waiting to the last minute, to actually like contact him. You can actually contact him after that, but I want to make sure you contact him at least the first time. You're actually probably gonna have to contact him multiple times. So he's gonna play a little bit of a cat and mouse. Yeah, I know. But this is what reporting is, right? You get information, you say to yourself, what does that say? You know, well, there's not enough here, right? And you're gonna get information, you're gonna say like, I need more than this, okay? This is not really explaining events, okay? And then I'll be asked for more information. And then if you have any kind of questions about that, please feel free to, say, I don't get it, okay? Let me know, okay? Make sure I got the right. Right. All right, it'll be due 11:59 on the 18th, okay? All right, so, all right, so by Friday, November 12th, like I said, please watch this video, okay? And then please write a 500, 800 word story on the press release, which I just showed you guys, and it's right here too, okay? You're gonna say like 500, 800 words. Now, when you look at the press release and everything, I'm not saying that like you eliminate all the stuff that's here. I'm just saying that there's stuff in here that's just not as important as, one thing that actually happened. So you're gonna think everybody knows the inverted pyramid, right? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the stuff that's not as important and shove it down in the story, okay? You're gonna take like maybe the top half of the story and fill in the new details, okay? All right. All right, so like I said here, the first paragraph isn't the lead, okay? It's not the lead for the general public, okay? You have the final lead that's important for your audience, the general public, that goes beyond the company's spin. Once you find that lead theme, you need to contact Bill Borden. He's gonna play the role as chief spokesperson for Megalomania. He's actually that kind. This guy is probably the most unselfish person I've ever met in my entire life. He's very smart. So yeah, you'll have to contact him at least twice. The first thing he'll send you is going to be like some sort of a document. Actually, it's going to have like you're going to have like a lot of the details on a document that'll, basically be connected to your story. Okay. But you're going to look at that and you're going to definitely say like, that's not enough. I don't get it. What's that mean? So then you just basically go to him and you say, I don't get it. What does that sound enough? What does that mean? Sometimes people ask me like, what are like the questions you would ask as a reporter? To be honest with you, there's no formal guidebook that says that, and you don't have to necessarily sound even that intelligent. Sometimes asking stupid questions is the best way to get information. I always say like, it's the old fashioned adage, it's better to catch flies with honey, right? So, actually, just basically asking the question, or I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie Big, going back to my era, right? But like, that's a Tom Hanks movie from the 80s, right? And like, and he plays like a kid who's actually in a grown-up body, who goes to work at a toy company, right? And one of the things he does during the company meeting, he goes, I don't get it. That's usually the best question to ask. I don't get it. Don't feel like you have like all this pride in the world that you can't ask a question that maybe a 10-year-old would ask, because actually that is the best question. And actually, you know what that does is when you actually ask questions like that, that typically puts your source at ease, because they feel like you're not a threat, They feel like you're not going to be somebody necessarily who's going to be trying to out intellectualize you or something like that, or you're not going to be necessarily conceited or condescending. Like, you actually have humility, okay? So feel free to ask that question, okay? All right, so I'm gonna ask you guys to do a video too. Oh boy, so here's the thing about the video, okay? I'm actually gonna ask you guys to do, I actually kind of give away a little bit here. I say, once you get the material on what Austin did, there's a guy named Steve Austin who plays a role in this, okay? You're gonna do a video on yourself playing a Megalomania employee. It could be anybody. Call yourself by your own name, give yourself a title. I want you to be creative. And basically do a 1-minute video of yourself responding to this, to what happened to Steve Austin. Be creative, say whatever you want to say, make yourself laugh, not on the video, make yourself laugh afterward, set it up so that like you can actually like have it recording yourself. Maybe like you don't have a tripod, just put it up against a book or something like that, your phone, and just have yourself talking. And pretend, and then you play the game of pretend and basically pretend that you're an employee and you're trying to react to that, okay? Does that make sense? Okay. And I'm only asking for 1 minute. I'm not, and please, and this actually will, this will be actually your standard sidebar video. This does not need B-roll, okay? Just a straight response, okay? That's all right? I figured that was important to add some sort of digital media in addition to the other stuff that's digital media, but adding the actual video is important because that's actually what typically would be done. You know, there's always like some sort of person on the street interview done for a lot of these controversial issues, you know? So, all right. Does that make sense? Okay. Be as creative as you want to say, you know, say we one. Like I said, this is going to be due in 2 weeks. Okay. So all I'm looking at actually in terms of assignments is this, and then the final assignment, which I call the data journalism assignment, which will be due the final day of class. I'll be talking about that in a couple of weeks. But all right, but first we'll deal with this. Okay. So we're looking at like a total of 5 assignments for this class. Okay? Typically, I like to do like 6, but 5 or 6. All right. Anything else? Guys, got any questions about anything? Got any? I want you guys to watch the video. I may as well just let you guys go too. Right? There's also only 2 of you, so. Any questions in general about the course? Anything about you're kind of wondering about, or you guys all got back your videos and your press releases? Okay. Everybody did fine in the video. Who's not here? So anyway, so there's no need to redo the video at all. Okay, the video's fine. If I asked you to do, if you didn't get an A on the actual written assignment, you should rewrite it for an A. Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions about that? No? Okay. All right. So that's it. So thanks very much. And, bye, everybody.